All right. So tonight we have this Q&A session. So we go directly to the question. On Wednesday, Bhante spoke of Kaya Pasadi, tranquility of mental body, which is the Cetasika here, and Chitta Pasadi, tranquility of consciousness. Can Bhante explain the other 5 pairs? Number 1, lightness, Lahuta. Number 2, pliancy or malleability, Muduta. Not Mudita, Muduta. Number 3, adaptability or wilderness, Kamanyata. Number 4, proficiency, Pagunyata. Number 5, rectitude, Ujukata. Oh, I think for a number of you who hasn't gone through any Abhidhamma thing, then you do not know what is being asked also. You do not know what is going on with this question also. What is what and what is this and what is that? But if you've gone through some Abhidhamma, at least on the entry level Abhidhamma, that also is good because you will come across to some of these terms. And some of these terms, so for of course, a lot of times people just explain it by textual, from the text only. But this one, this 5 pairs, or together with the 6 pairs, so together with Kaya Pasadi and Chitta Pasadi here, then they are also very important in our Vipassana development. Although most of the time we don't talk about it, because when you have mindfulness and your mindfulness is continuous, your alertness is clear and so on, then all these 6 are already coming in already part of the whole baggage, whole part of the package that is coming in with together with that mindfulness, with the wholesome state of mind. But sometimes these ones also, they can once in a while become prominent to you. They can become clear to you. Then it is good that when they have become clear to you, then this is where we can able to see them as they are. So here we go to the next with this one, because something I've written down here. It's easier to see. Now, when you say this, just now it was a 5 pairs, but actually altogether there are 6 pairs because together with tranquility, 6 pairs. Now each one of them, like tranquility, you have Kaya Pasadi. Then you have Chitta Pasadi. That day I explained it a little bit. So you already have 2. Then here in the number 2 again, you have Kaya Lahuta. Then you have Chitta Lahuta. Then you have Kaya Mudutta, Chitta Mudutta, Kaya Kamanyata, Chitta Kamanyata, Kaya Pagunyata, and Chitta Pagunyata, and Kaya Ujukata, and Chitta Ujukata. So altogether, you have 12 pairs here. 6 pairs, 12 factors here. 6 pairs, 12 factors. The Kaya, just I go back a little bit now. You see, the top here, the Kaya and the Chitta, the Kaya and the Chitta here, you see, Kaya Pasadi, Chitta Pasadi. So these are 2. So you must remember all these things are they are 12. So there are 6 pairs, but they are 12. All right. So what are they? What are all these things, and how are they connected to our meditation and also perhaps in our everyday life? Now, tranquility here, that day I mentioned that is the quietness of the mind. So tranquility, when it says that is Kaya Pasadi, Kaya here means connected with the cetasika. Connected with the cetasika means it's connected with the restlessness, agitation, worry. Once that type of tranquility comes in, then all this restlessness, agitation, worry disappear. As opposed to restlessness, agitation, worry. So here the tranquility, when it's affecting the cetasika, when it's affecting the cetasika, so we use the term kaya pasadi. When it affects the chitta, when it affects the consciousness, then we use the word chitta. Now, tranquility here, sometimes you're able to notice it as sometimes when you meditate, then there's a lot of images running, your K-drama running here, running there, all your movie, all your past recollection of your memories, and then all these things going around, and then the mind gets very agitated. And then you see these things. Then after that, later, if let's say the kaya or the pasadi comes in, when the pasadi comes in, then it smoothen out all this agitation, all this restlessness, all these images, you all smoothen them out. Then quiet in the sense that the mind is still workable, in the sense that they're able to note everything, not quiet not in a wrong sense of the whole mind cannot do anything. Cannot do anything means the mind is not noting, the mind is not able to penetrate, and so on. But this time, together with this tranquility, the mind is able to notice things clearly, sharply, and all the labeling and all the chattering of the mind all disappear. So the mind go on a silent run, silent noting, very clear silent noting. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful because it's, as I said, that on Wednesday, it's wonderful because if compared to a person who is thinking all the time, then when you have this kaya pasadi, it's really a great gift. And you can see how the mind is actually rested or resting right now. So if one is not careful, one can able to attach to the pleasant feelings that's connected with that tranquility. So you begin to attach to the pleasant feelings. Then you feel nice, you want to stay there, you don't want to come out of it, you don't want to note anything, you just want the mind to be quiet. So that one you have to be careful. Don't fall into those traps. Now, in the sense of chitta pasadi, that means it affects the consciousness. Sometimes the consciousness is so, in the sense of agitated, but you may not have so much of images and so on, but it's just agitated, running here, running there. And then you feel that the whole body, the whole mind, you cannot settle down. Although you don't have much of a thinking, but it's just unsettling. Then when the pasadi comes in, then it's smoothen out that unsettled state of mind. Then the mind also become calm, peaceful, clear, and sharp. So this is tranquility. So this is opposed to restlessness, agitation, and worry. So when tranquility is there, then this restlessness, agitation, worry, they do not arise. Okay. So from 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't have to go through into kaya again. Don't have to go into chitta again. We just take it as a pair. We just describe as one thing will do. We don't have to go through again into two things. So number 2, lightness or agility, lahuta, opposed to dullness, heaviness, sleepiness. You want to know about, especially when it comes to meditation, Vipassanā meditation. If you are sometimes yogis become more skillful. Then when this dullness, agitation, or sleepiness, drowsiness arises in the during the practice, then they can see that the mind is so heavy, it cannot move, cannot do anything. It's like a, like a very thick glue or thick molasses, and then it's like very sticky. The whole mind doesn't want to move. Sometimes, if you are sleepy at a certain time now, you want to push the mind to another object to note. Let's say while you're sleepy, you're heavy, you want to push it to your in breath, out breath to take note. As if like the mind has no strength to go in, into that into that in breath, out breath. Even it goes to the in breath, out breath, that sleepiness will just pull you back again to sleepiness. Huh? It doesn't want you to see these things. Yeah? It doesn't want you to see all these things. It just wants to keep you in that dullness. Uh, so so you can see that when the dullness is there, when the heaviness of the mind is there, the mind is not agile, it's not flexible, it's not light. The mind is like so heavy, stuck there in that sense. So when they don't have this, so the lightness here is when the mind is able to move from one object to another object whenever the object is prominent. For example, even if you like watching your rising and falling, and this time your mind is at optimum level, clear level, then you see that your mind can able to, that the next object arises, you can just fall into it and able to take up that object, noticing it. You are not so like, uh, should I go there or should I not go there? Which one actually it will go on the next one already, the number 5 already. Because that time you are lack of faith already. Your mind is not clear. But when you are at the optimum level, there are now number 5, we talk about it a short while later. So when you're in the optimum level, when your mind can able to move from one object to another object, then the mind is very good, very, very proficient, very, very light in that sense. In light, and sometimes this lightness of the mind, you will see it as you develop the mind into more development, into higher, deeper development. For example, you can able to see the changing, arising, passing away. You see the arising and passing away, when they change, the mind is fluctuating, the mind is changing very fast. And the noting can actually able to follow all this arising and passing away. You can follow it on that particular spot, for example. So many things I can able to follow it at that moment of time. Then after that later, a pain arises and the pain becomes prominent, and then you switch the whole mind, all this into that pain, and you can actually able to see the arising and passing away of things. Yeah? So that time the mind is very agile, very light in that sense. So this is what we mean here. The mind is very flexible in moving from one object to another object, as opposed to dullness, heaviness, laziness of the mind. Yeah? So this is also, yogis also see it this time. The next one, and the lightness and so on. Sometimes you can see it in the young children or baby. They come out, they are very, very active, very active, mentally very active. They are not dull. They can very and sometimes compared to some other babies or some other the child, they are much more relaxed, much more reserved. But there are some who are a little bit much more active in that sense. So there's lightness in the mind. Okay. So number 3, pliancy, malleability, softness. Here, it opposed to wrong views and opposed to conceit. Uh, what does it mean here? What does it mean of appliancy as opposed to wrong views and conceit? When one has wrong views and conceit, one become very hard, mentally become very hard, very stiff and very just hard now, that means the mind is one-track mind. We call it one-track mind. And especially when they're attached to a certain views, they can able to ignore whether they are facts or whether the facts are presented right in front of them too. Uh, so last year, for example, when the COVID cases are getting so many cases, people are dying, I've seen in the news that while this patient, although he has COVID, but he denied that he doesn't have, he denied that he has no COVID. This COVID is still a scam. After a number of months already, he just doesn't want to believe that he has COVID. All the deniability. Although that the doctors and the nurses showed him, all the results and so on, they deny. And also, of course, like we can see in the world, there are people who totally deny that this disease is there. Totally deny. And then they believe in all kinds of conspiracy theories and so on. Totally deny. In US, there's also this society, the Flat Earth Society. They believe that the society like a roti canai, like a pancake, flat like that. So you walk to the end of the earth, you drop. Earth is not round. There are also people believe in that way. Although you show them all the evidence, they still do not want to believe. And there's a society in there. You want to see them, you want to join them, you go in Google, and you go and see what they are doing. Then they are fixed in their view. Every facts that come in, they're not going to let this one go believe. There are even, like, for example, the wrong views in the sense of when you begin to attach to all kinds of wrong view. As I said that time, even when the Buddha is in front of you, but to tell you the Dhamma, you also will not able to let go on your views. There are so many of them during the Buddha's time. So many people met with the Buddha. So many people hear the Dhamma. Not every one of them get enlightened like what you read in the suttas, The one that you read in the suttas is, yes, you see that people or beings or devas get enlightened. But it didn't tell you there are also a lot of men, there are those people who met with the Buddha also did not get enlightened. There are also a lot, even more, I think. So during the Buddha's time, there are also many views that's happening there. And nowadays also the same thing. So during this time, even the Buddha tell them the Dhamma, right in front of them, telling the Dhamma, cannot even penetrate because the mind is so hard already. So hard. Even the same thing with the conceit also, especially the superiority type of conceit, that you think that you are the elite, you think that you are the best, you think that nobody can able to better than you and so on, When such a ego and such a powerful, strong ego, that type of ego, then it will spring into violence, into spring into all kinds of unwholesome things. So you tell them that their ego is so strong, and say, what ego? What ego is there? So here, that means the mind is so hard, as opposed to softness. Here, the softness means that the mind that once the able to notice something there, the mind can easily able to accept it, can able to see it as they are. Because sometimes there are, during meditation, you may meditate, and then some phenomena arises. For example, earlier questions where things gets blur or things stop for a while, then a lot of times some yogis may think that it shouldn't happen like that. Why is it happening this way? How come is it something this way? Why we cannot accept, we cannot see it in front that is happening in that way? Because we are fixed in our own understanding that object should not happen in that way. We already have a certain view, not to say wrong view, but we already have a certain way how we think that an object should behave. We already have that perception, and we already hold on to that perception, hold on to that idea, hold on to that concept that object should not happen in that way. So this is what it means, that your mind is not soft. So a lot of times, when these things are happening, yogis are denying what they are actually seeing. Now, also, for example, like when it happened, when a yogi begin to meditate, as they go into a deeper aspect of their development, then their mind becomes clearer, but it starts to change very fast. The whole rising and falling doesn't appear anymore. It's only arising and passing away. The shape of the rising and falling, the way how a rising and falling takes place, and how does the direction of the all these things disappear. They only see the arising of passing away in the abdominal area, in the around that area, so they only see this arising and passing away. So during this time, especially at the transition period, sometimes yogi may thought that, hey, how come all these things are disappear already? Am I doing it something wrong or not? Yeah. How come the teachers always say got rising, falling, got in breath, out breath, got this one, got that one, but now every of my object I cannot see all these things. So you see, because again we fix on a certain idea, we fix on a certain way of how an object should behave. We are not easily able to see things when they are presented right in front of us. There is a hardness. There's a hardness that we cannot does not want to let ourselves go into to truly see what is going on. Yeah. We still hold on to something there. So that holding on is called the hardness. Then if you let it go and to sing it and to see the experience as they are, as they whatever that is going through, that is what we call softness, the lahuta, in that sense. So that we do see that in our practice. We do see that in our practice. And also, for example, this pliancy, softness, maybe also like in our school days, like when we are doing certain maths problem, or doing certain maths problem, and then we know how one way of coming to the results, you do all the steps, and then you know how one way only. Then your friends may have other ways of reaching the same answer also, but it's a completely different way. But when you look at their friends, this one, hey, but you can't understand what is going on. You think that yours one is superior. You think that yours one is better. But there are other ways, in that sense, so we hold on to some of our things, and then a lot of times we got this one track mind. So this is what we mean by softness, as opposed to wrong views and conceit. Okay. So number 4, adaptability, wilderness, kamanyata, opposed to sensual desire, anger, ill will, aversion, all these things. So what does it mean here? Here, malleability or pliancy here, that means that the mind must not be too hard or too soft. When you are affected by sensual desire or sensual pleasures, when the mind is having a lust or having sensual pleasures, and then the mind is like internally is totally melted, become too soft. There's no holding back. It's just there. Yeah. You just let go, and in the sense, not in the wholesome sense, in the sense that you completely want to enjoy it. So it becomes too this. And when it comes to anger, then it's the opposite of it. It becomes too hard, too stiff. So when you are affected by sensual desire and affected by anger, your mind cannot notice anything. You notice that sometimes when you notice this sensual desire coming in, as you watch your mind, the sensual desire as it stroll in, coming in. Say, for example, you are hungry, and then you meditate, and then the food all coming in inside your mind. So nice. So your all this food, your char kway teow, your this one. This is especially when you are in a retreat. 5 o'clock in the morning before breakfast, and you don't have your lunch was yesterday. At 12 o'clock or 12:30, you finish until the next day 5 o'clock. So long period of time. That time, your stomach will start to growling and hungry, and you meditate, and sometimes the images of the food all come in, or you anticipate what people are going to cook in the breakfast time. So once that type of images and sensual pleasure comes in, you see that the whole mindfulness drops. Not only the mindfulness drop, the whole body also become bent and then not easy. And that is where all the sleepiness, drowsiness all starts coming in already. So the mind is not adaptable during this time. It's too soft already. And when it's affected by anger, the mind is too stiff already, too hard already. Yeah, too hard. So during this time, you cannot able to bend the mind according to your way that you want. It is like, again, in the commentary, they were talking about, they was giving the example of, like, if you want to shape the goal, you cannot shape it when it's too watery, or too hot and it's too watery. You cannot shape it in that way. Too watery. Or you cannot shape the gold when it's not hot at all. When it's cold and it's hardened, you cannot shape it. Cold hardened is like anger, and it's too watery, it becomes like the sensual desire. So you must have somehow have a right amount that the mind can able to shape and bend to whichever this one. This one also like adaptability also maybe because, say for example, you want to change from one Vipassana to Samatha meditation and Samatha to back to Vipassana meditation. You see, those who are practicing Vipassana, then let's say one day I ask them to do, you start do Samatha meditation, do Metta meditation, or do in-breath, out-breath meditation. Naturally, after meditating for a while, then you go back to your object again, right? You go back to your main, not your samatha or your in-breath, out-breath. You go back to you kind of like go back to your rising, falling, because out of habit. Yeah? And then for those who are doing samatha meditation, if they practice a lot in the in-breath, out-breath, they're very hard for them to come into rising, falling, or noticing the pain and all that, then they very quickly they will just go back to the in breath out breath. Why? Because the mind is not adaptable. The mind is cannot able to be, malleable, adaptable in that sense. In a different object, you cannot bend it to what you want. Yeah, you cannot bend it to the things that you want to develop. You kind of like fall back to your own habit. You see, so these things that yogis also do see it quite a lot, isn't it? So sometimes they mix their meditation. Not to say it's not good, It's just that you have to be. You got to train again and again. When you are doing, let's say, metta, that time, it's all metta only. You forget about all this rising and falling, all this whatever. Then strictly on metta. You want to do it for 2 weeks, 2 weeks, all this thing is not coming. All this rising, falling, Vipassanā all don't come in. You fix it there, right? And then, or you want to do Vipassanā. You want to take up the rising, falling as an object and all other this and that object. Then you don't let the in breath out breath comes in. If you are from samatha base, you don't let the in breath out breath coming. You just fix it to the Vipassana and you just see what is going on. So that one, it needs a certain degree of adaptability. So it's very easy for you to adapt towards another object, so it doesn't hold back to the earlier one. All right. Okay. The fourth one, proficiency, pagunyata. Proficiency here means that you are opposing of spiritual doubt or your lack of faith or lack of confidence. Your lack of confidence, lack of the sada here. Now, lack of sada here, that means that, what do you call it proficiency then? Proficiency, that means that you are skillful. You are skillful in certain object. You're skillful in certain way of development. Now, let's say, some time back, I was talking about, some talks back, I was talking about there are those people who can able to enter jhana within like 2 seconds. Within like 2 seconds, they're already into jhana already, or a second, they're already into a jhana. As opposed to a beginner to enter a jhana. Let's say you are doing a first jhana, all right? You're doing a first jhana, and you want to develop the metta into a first jhana. But the thing is that when you want to develop this metta and your beginning part of it, your mind is affected by thinking, worry, all the 5 hindrances, affecting you. Then it's very hard for the metta to be stabilized. Metta to be stabilized. So when the metta cannot be stabilized, then you cannot able to enter into jhana. You need a stability of the metta, and during that time, stability means that it's completely free from 5 hindrances. So it's the mind is totally stable. When the mind is stable, after a while, if your mind is steady enough, ripen enough, then you can able to leap into jhana. You can able to enter into jhana and fix there, as absorbed there. With that consciousness, it fixed there. So it for the yogi, that you got to take some time, just to reach there. Sometimes 1 year, 2 years, just to reach that thing. It's not as easy as you think it is. Some people just 1 week, 2 weeks, they say that they're already in the jhana already. So after I listen to them, I don't comment so much. I listen to them. Again, they get caught into spiritual, this What did we talk about last Wednesday? The imperfections, the corruptions of samatha meditation. They come into tranquility, but it's not jhana yet. But they assume that tranquility is already jhana. So here, if you are really proficient, you are really good at it. Sorry, you are beginning at a part of it. So when you enter, you are struggling to enter in the jhana. Compared to another yogi, which is able to enter the jhana within 2 seconds. He sit down there, ready, pop, go in already, jhana. Why is that he can able to do that and the other person cannot able to do that? Beginner cannot do that. Because he has no lacking of the faith. The moment he's able to stabilize the mind, that period, that metta, the moment he able to stabilize it, he can able to use that immediately. He can able to go into jhana. There's no such thing as like able, can or cannot. Is it, am I ready? Am I not ready? Am I ready? Am I not ready? No such thing as all these things. He can able to take it and already go into it. So there's this proficiency in the entering of the jhana. Yeah, yes, very proficient in that sense. Or you can also take it as the nibbana too. Yeah, nibbana also the same thing, similar the same thing. By the moment he look into the arising and passing away, anytime he wants it, he wills it, he bends towards it, he enter into it without thinking whether I can or cannot. There's no such thing because proficiency is there. There's no lacking of confidence in entering into the jhana or entering into nibbana and stay there for a while. For either one of them, stay there for a while to enjoy the fruit, the fruition consciousness, or the fruition attainment, or the jhana, depending on which one you want to go in. So this is what we call opposed to a spiritual doubt, opposed to a lack of faith. So here also the proficiency also, when it comes to like everyday life also, this proficiency also, it comes in as if you learn about Abhidhamma, some people are what we call asankarika as asankarika. Asankarika means unprompted. Yes, asankarika means prompted. So for example, unprompted here means that when he sees a dana or he hears somebody says there's dana, without somebody to prompt him or prompt her, immediately he already wants to do the dana already. Some people got some friends or sometimes our family members. Hey, the monk is there. You want to go dana or not? Then it's you think about it. My key. I want to go or not? Don't want to go. Want to go? Don't want to go. Want to go? Don't want to go. Okay, go. That means you are being prompted, So immediately somebody says there's one, or you read there's one, or you want to read that something is wholesome, the mind is automatically goes into it. Why is it going into it? Because there's lack of faith. So there's lack of doubt. There's no doubt about it. You don't have spiritual, at that moment, you don't have doubt about it. You already goes into it. Yeah, proficiency in that sense. So those of you have been practicing for long and so on. You see that the mind from prompted at once upon a time, people ask you to do dana, you also think about it. But nowadays, you want to do dana, you immediately want to do this one already, because here the faith, the confidence towards dana is there. So we call it proficiency in that sense. Yeah? Okay. Rectitude, the sixth one, rectitude or uprightness, ujukata. Ujukata means opposed to crookedness of the mind or ulterior motives, the secondary motives. Here, this word uju, you also mention it like in the, when you chant the Supati Panno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho, Ujupati Panno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho, Uju, straightness of the mind. Yeah. Then also in the what do you call that? In Metta Sutta also. Yeah. You chant Uju. And what do you call it? What is the word already? Something I forgot. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, come back. I can't. Uju suhuju. Just muda anati mani. Yes, something like that. Yes. So that one is the uju. So uju here means the mind is straight. The mind doesn't have a secondary motive. I've spoken about that, about secondary motives whenever we talk about that craving. Yeah. When craving, because the secondary motives can be very subtle. Take the same example, when you are sitting, and then when the pain arises, you're supposed to note the pain, but the back of your mind, you want the pain to go away. You note the pain, you note the pain, you note. How come the pain is not going off yet? Not big pain, small pain, pulling pain, hard pain, changing pain, pulling pain. No, the pain is getting more, getting less. How come I keep noting the pain is not going away yet? That means your mind is not straight. Your mind has a secondary motive. The mind has an ulterior motive that you don't want to see the pain. You're not really want to see the pain as they really are, but you want the pain to go away behind that. So your mind is not straightforward. Your mind is not straight. So too, sometimes people do all these type of things, like on Wednesday I was saying that you are doing the walking meditation very well, and then it's not that you want to really you want to develop also, but you still have a secondary motive that you want to let people look at you how you walk, or you want to teach people how to walk. Inside the mind is already playing all these things. So the mind is not straight. The mind is not just seeing it as they really are, but it's having that small little motivation, secondary motivation around it. And then that is what is important for us to take note of those things, because many times these things are not taught in the Vipassanā. You have to see it for yourself. Even you read this Abhidhamma also, you cannot know, sometimes you cannot know how to even to apply it, even into your meditation or even in the daily life. So you need to be clear. You need to be clear that especially this crookedness of the mind, you got to be very careful, because this is our secondary nature. Sometimes we do business and so on. We give you some perks. We want something else, isn't it? Like the politician, I give you everything. I want your votes also. Something like that. A lot of secondary, a lot of hidden agenda inside this one. So a lot of times we also the same thing. Even the meditator, we come in also with got the same thing. So if you are not careful, this hidden agenda can affect your meditation. It can become this hidden, this agenda, these motives can develop, and because of its repetition again and again, it gets stronger, and it becomes a strong hindrance to you. But although at times these things comes in, you want to make the pain go away. You want to push the pain. If once in a while it comes up and you see it, and it doesn't affect you so much, then it's not a big problem. You're aware of it, you let it go, just carry on with your meditation, then it doesn't affect you. The thing is that it stays and it repeats itself again and again. Then it becomes a habit. Every time you sit with the pain only, you want to you want to shift your leg, you want to get rid of the pain already. So you don't want to see it as So this is what we call the rectitude here. Yeah? Yeah. Also, in the um, text also, it mentioned that there are also certain things that they can be balanced. They can go with each other. Yeah. Tranquility and lightness. Number one and number two, tranquility and lightness. Agile. So just now, earlier on, when I was saying that you have this tranquility, but your mind is still able to note everything. So that means here, the mind is quiet, free from all these things, and yet at the same time, it can able to note. So tranquility and agility, sometimes they can come in as they balance each other. Yeah? If not, you have come in with tranquility, but when there's not much of agility, that means the mind is quiet, but it's not able to note things very clearly. But it's agile, but that means it can able to move from one object to another object without mental commentaries, without mental talking about it. Yeah? So it can come in also in that way. A proficiency and adaptability, or number 4 and number 5 also, they can come in also as a pair also in that sense. Sometimes when you look at it as a pair, proficiency and adaptability, yeah. You see, for sometimes, we take a everyday example. When we are doing something, we are skillful in that doing things. Let's say we are able to fold some paper in origami. If you slowly do it, they come out very nice. But when you have a lot of orders coming in, or people see that, your origami is very good, then you start ordering, and then you have to start doing things faster already. When you start doing things faster, then your folding of your paper is not precise anymore. You're supposed to fold a bird, it comes out, it turns into a dinosaur, it turns into something else. Although you are skillful when you're slow, but when it comes into fast, you're not good anymore. So here it means that proficiency and adaptability or wilderness here. That means when you're fast, you are also as good as when you're slow. You can able to fold the bird when you're slow nicely. Also, when you have a lot of it, you also can do it as perfectly as when you're slow. So something like this, proficiency and adaptability has to go hand in hand together. So too, when it comes into meditation, also the same thing. The mind also must be able to note whether the object is fast or whether it's slow. Whether it's fast or whether it's slow, you can able to adapt. You can able to bend into another object to this way, that way, whichever comes in. You must able to do it. Not sometimes the yogi likes just a very soft rising, falling. I don't want all this fast one. I don't want all this fast one make me don't know what I'm observing right now. So that they are not this one. So they must have both of it also. So the rectitude here, it has to come in with all of them, in the sense that the mind has to be pure in its motives, pure in its way of doing things. It's not like this way or that way and so on. And with this, with the development of this thing, rectitude, uprightness, proficiency, and so on, it comes into our everyday life. It comes into our everyday life when we are dealing with something, or when we're dealing with people, or when we open up our mouth, and when we think, or when we act, then we don't have hidden agenda. We don't have that secrecy, trying to cover, trying to do these things, and we are not like that. If you are like that, sometimes you have to look into this, especially this uprightness, something missing there. Okay, so that's quite a lot on this 6 pair. If you want to know more about this 6 pair, there's one book I recommend to you to go and read. This one, if you can see, let me see. This one is called Abhidhamma Studies. Abhidhamma studies by Nyanaponika Thera. This Nyanaponika is a German monk, a late German monk. He passed away some time back. In this book, there is a chapter called The Six Paths. In the chapter called The Six Paths of Qualitative Factors. And you want to know more about it, then it'll be very good. We have this book for a number of years already, and you want to know about a lot of Abhidhamma stuff also. This writer is a very good writer. So this you can further study from here. Abhidhamma studies by Venerable Nyanaponika Thera. Okay, so that's it for the night. That's all. I will see you Monday lah. It's still not Chinese New Year yet. Don't worry. After all, Chinese New Year, y'all can't go anywhere. All right. Okay. So let's share merits for now.